Hello, everyone. It's Mark Holthe, Canadian immigration lawyer, ex-immigration officer, and former high school teacher, jumping on once again for another live Canadian immigration Q&A. Well, guys, the reality is it is a beautiful Tuesday. It's been raining like crazy here near my home, and it has been so nice to see everything so green here in Lethbridge. Now, I'm sure you guys, depending on where you live in the world, you're probably all super happy with the place you live, and probably live in areas that are far more green than here in southern Alberta. Interestingly, if it wasn't for the irrigation that we have here, this would actually be considered almost like a desert. But the advantage to it, as I shared in my top 10 reasons why Canada is one of the most awesome countries for immigrants, go back to the YouTube channel and watch that. One of the things identified is that our climate is actually really good. And we have a variety of things. Yes, it can get cold. Yes, it can get hot. But down here in Lethbridge, our winters are super mild. So that's part of the reason why with this arid climate that we have, weather's not too bad. So it's been really nice. We went out with our family to the Castle River Basin, which is an amazing wildlife corridor where a lot of the grizzly bears travel down through from the Rocky Mountains into the United States, and there's wonderful cutthroat trout fishing there. So I'm definitely going to show you guys a bunch of information from that. Well, I'm going to share some videos with you guys, but welcome. Guys, welcome. I'm Canadian immigration lawyer Mark Holthe, and this is what I do. Every Tuesday and Thursday, join me right here on the Canadian Immigration Institute YouTube channel, and I'm going to be sharing information on Express Entry. Today, I have some massive news to share with you guys. And I know people are probably sitting there thinking, seriously, Mark, what do you know? You don't know anything about this. Well, on my call with immigration, and every 2 weeks or so, you guys will know that I'm the vice chair of our Canadian Bar Association. We have meetings with the head government officials, the border officers, with CBSA, the Foreign Worker Program, ESDC. Although I'm not sure if anyone, I think someone was from ESDC was sitting on our call yesterday. IRCC, Immigration, and and so they came on, and one of the things that the head official with Express Entry indicated to us is that, drum roll, ching. Actually, wait a minute. I have something here. Let's see here. How about this one? Oh, actually, maybe not. I better unmute them. Well, I thought, there we go. Okay, I figured out how to do my sound effects. We're gonna applause here. Yay! The reality is the FSW and the FST programs are going to, we're going to start to see invitations to apply again. So when is that going to happen? Well, my sources within immigration have told us that it's going to happen later this summer. So I'll leave it up to you guys, to think exactly when that's going to happen. But later this summer, we've been told that they are going to start those outside of Canada draws again. So hang in there, guys. You've been so patient, with the travel restrictions. I know we're going to have things that are going to start to lift a little bit here, but irrespective of those travel restrictions, we have been told that later this summer, those FSW draws are going to start again. Now, what does that mean? When exactly may that happen? Well, as I start to look at the situation and start to think about what they may do and what they may not do, I think we're probably looking at later in August. So that's my feeling, but you can rest assured that yes, there will be FSW draws again in 2020. We've received our assurances of that. So don't lose hope. Hang in there. Now's the time to get your applications in. And as always, if you need any assistance, we're here to help at Holthe Immigration Law. Okay, with that being said, let's see who's tuning in here. Okay, we've got Sahil, Mark is back, and so are his fans. Yes, they are. We've got Amna. We've got Raul. Welcome. Great to have you here. Karen, as always, from Delhi. We've got Bobby. We've got Sajida. Let's see if I can make this just a little bit bigger, and maybe shrink this down here a little bit. Okay, let's see how that works. Okay, let's see what else we have here. So we got Sajida here. We've got Diana, who's over in Sarnia. Welcome, Diana. Great to have you joining us. Let's see who else. We have Naveen says, hey, Mark, what a video caption. Yes, phenomenal news. Great news that they're going to be doing the ITAs for the FSW again. Sanjay's over in Dubai. We've got Bam, who's over in Nigeria. Welcome, Farzad. Bobby, nice to meet you. Okay. Okay, Manjot is already asking questions. They're going to be processing them, but it's going to take a whole lot longer, my friend. So hang in there. Okay, Joe says, weather is truly reflecting on your face. Yes, weather is good. Yes, it is. Now, with that being said, this is also reflecting on my face as I stood on the scale this morning and realized, my goodness, I have got to make some changes in my office. I work from 7, 8 o'clock in the morning till 7, 8 o'clock at night. And sometimes I never leave my desk here in my home office. And that is not a recipe for a healthy person, a healthy lifestyle, or living very long. And if I want to continue doing these fun videos, doing the work that I do, just loving the experience of being an immigration lawyer and representing all of you, I need to do a better job of taking care of myself. So I'm really excited. I'm going to be onboarding another immigration lawyer who's going to be joining us, and I'll share a little bit more about her with you guys next week. Maybe even Thursday. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to be speaking with her on tonight. But excited to add another member to our awesome team. And as I add more people on, then it's going to create more margin for the important things in life, which is taking care of me. All right. So let's see what else we have here. Okay. Amna says, good to see you. How are you doing? How is family? Family's doing awesome. In fact, Amna, I'm going to share something with you. This here, I'm going to close this off. This is what we did on Sunday. So there's my daughter. She's just, this is a beautiful, beautiful falls. Castle Falls is over west of Pincher Creek, Alberta. And so there's the kids, there's the family. I think Michaela's got Simba there. Michaela's in the red dress. But that right here is just an amazing, beautiful waterfall. This water does not normally flow this fast, but we've had a lot of rain, and so the rivers are higher. And when it clears up, this water is like glass. You can see all the way down to the bottom, and it's fantastic for fishing. So there is what my family did on Sunday, and it is awesome. Okay, we've got John who's tuning in here from Toronto. Welcome, John. And Callum says, okay, so what's this good news I've been waiting for? Callum, they are going to start these rounds of invitations again later in the summer. Probably later in August is my guess, but that's the direction that we're looking at. Sonia's tuning in from Nigeria. Pathan, good to see you again. Prasanna is over in India. We've got a really, really great group of people, and there's no way I'm going to get through here. Ralph, you're usually the first one to comment. It's amazing how many people are tuned in today. South Africa, we've got Charlene, welcome. Cloesa says, hola, Cloesa, muito bom velo. All right, let's see who else we have here. Kujit, great to see you. Sonia, let's see here. Kumar says you're the best. Thanks, Kumar. Okay, let's see as we zip through these here. Chand says he wants to visit Canada. Hey, Chand, you're in luck. Well, maybe you're not entirely in luck, but while I'm giving these shout outs, let me show you something, guys. So I think many of you know that recently the government has announced that from June 10th to the June 30th, they've got new ministerial instructions. And one of the things that they've recently announced with these instructions is that they are starting to process temporary applications again. But these instructions make it very clear that you must file online electronically. And if you do not file them electronically, at least through June 10th to June 30th, June 10th was a good day because that was my 25th anniversary. But until the end of this month, actually, let me stand corrected, okay? This is, I'm showing June 10th to June 30th here. understand these ministerial instructions with filing online and all of these applications, these processes that the government is taking are all designed to make sure that they can continue to process applications, notwithstanding the craziness that's going on. Now, when I say craziness, yes, immigration is continuing to process applications. Yes, you need to file online. Yes, there are delays. Yes, there are fewer officers in the foreign missions, what's resulting in the processing times going crazy. So if you guys look at this and we open up a new screen here and we type in IRCC processing times, let's see, actually, let's go straight to processing period. Let's not worry about COVID-19. Let's go to the processing times. You will see right at the beginning, and we confirm this with them, even though you'll see here that due to the impacts of coronavirus, we can't process applications normally, nor provide accurate processing times. So if you're to go in here and you're just say, okay, I'm waiting for my PR card. It's my first PR card. How long, actually we'll put here, no, I'm waiting for my first PR card. How long is it going to take? It says 98 days right here. And you can see it was last updated June 30th. But I can tell you guys, excuse me, woo, I can tell you that guaranteed it's going to probably be even longer than the 98 days here. So what it's saying here in the general instructions for processing times is that because of this, you can't rely on this. So anyone saying, you're asking me the question, Mark, how long are immigration applications going to take to process? Understand, no one really knows. Even the government doesn't know. Paper applications in Canada, like spousals, for instance, my heart goes out for you guys that have filed spousals, that are waiting on open work permits. All of that has just basically been shelved because the government has been unable to have all of their traditional visa processing officers working in the same location. And when you have paper-based, you can't really do it virtually. Now, they've started a new pilot program with some of the officers going back with a specific role. And what is the role? The role is actually to, it's to scan all the paper applications in so that they can be processed via in an electronic means and through people that are working from their homes. But the numbers of people, there's probably 30% of the officers themselves, and I'm just going roughly, that are not even working for various reasons. So right off the top, IRCC has a complement of anywhere between 25 to 30% of their officers that are not even working because either they're at home, their home situation doesn't allow them to be able to work virtually, they're home taking care of their children who are not able to be in school, all of those kinds of things that traditionally with daycares closed. So there's, right off the bat, almost a third of the officers are not even processing applications. With that being said, there's probably only about 3% that are physically in the offices working. And then all the others are working virtually. So that gives you a little bit of a snapshot at what the world looks like for processing within Canada. All right. Okay, so back to the whole mix and just sharing a few more things with you guys. These ministerial instructions you can see here that were announced with respect to processing applications. Yes, I want to emphasize that Canada is continuing to process, but just it's like a trickle. It's definitely not like this family fun roaring little creek here. It's more like a little tiny trickle of applications that are being processed right now. But I want you guys to understand something. We are not in this situation, which breaks my heart. And I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see what I'm talking about here. Do you guys see this? If you are an international student in Canada, be very, very grateful. Look at this right here. International students may need to leave US if their universities transition to online only learning. And what does that mean? These people who've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to get an education in the US, if their schools, which many of them likely are going to go entirely to online, then the US says, we don't want you here anymore, go home. I don't know what to say. I don't want to slam the US. They obviously are doing what they feel is right, but that is not our Canadian way. Yes, those of you who are watching, you understand very clearly that these rules apply, non-optional and non-discretionary travel. If you're a student looking to come to Canada, you still have to satisfy a CBSA officer, even if your study permit was approved, even if you can board a plane and you have that study permit in hand, you still have to show that the purpose of your entry is non-optional and non-discretionary. Well, what does that mean? What kind of things do you have to show? Well, one, you have to show that your school is not all online. If it's all online, then yes, Canada is also going to stay home. It is going to say you should stay home in your home country. But if you're in Canada, we're not like the US here, where we're saying, well, that's a different one, this one, where we're saying we're going to kick you out. That's not the case. But for Canadian purposes, when it comes to this whole idea, this whole Quarantine Act requirement, what are some things that you have to be able to demonstrate? Well, one, like I said, that the school is maybe doing a hybrid program where you have labs, where you have actually in-school requirements that cannot be completed online, that you have an ability to meet all of the quarantine requirements, that you have a place to go, that you have someone who can ensure that you meet the 14-day quarantine requirements. What else? Like I said, that the need for you to be in Canada is critical to your program. And in many cases, now the DLIs, the designated learning institutions, may or may not have the ability to do this, but I personally would get a letter from them saying, yeah, you need to be here. Now, there is no easy mechanism for the DLIs to issue these kinds of letters, but if I was a border service officer, like I was in a previous life, and you had a letter from your school saying it's urgent that, Ahmed needs to be able to come and study and attend in-class portions for, say, a lab component or a practicum component to the course, to the program that can't be completed otherwise, then that's going to be pretty persuasive for me. But if I'm an international student, I've given up my lease, I don't even have a rental, I have to go to an Airbnb, or my classes are actually going to be all online, then it's very unlikely that a CBSA officer is going to grant you entry, even though you have that study permit. So keep that in mind. And then my heart also goes out to all of the companies in the US who are now trying to figure out what they're going to do, because Trump has suspended all of these visas, which amounts to, hundreds of thousands of foreign workers who are not going to be able to go to the US to work anymore. So if you're a company in the US, contact me. There's lots of options, and Canada has its arms open. All right, there is a big, massive teaching moment for all of you guys. Let's go through here. We've got a massive group of people that are watching. I'm just not going to be able to jump in and say hello to everything, like to everyone. Arjun says, thanks for sharing the great news. You're very welcome. We've got Sakina, who's in KSA. We've got Toronto representation. We've got someone else in Canada. I'm just going to pound through these really, really quick. This person, Kamal, says, hey, is there going to be a CEC draw July 9th tomorrow? Maybe. It's possible. Well, I guess that would be Thursday. Maybe a PNP, maybe a CEC. But I personally think there's going to be a CEC before we see an FSW, even though the government has announced that they're going to start doing that later in the summer. Okay, so let's keep whipping through here. Okay, Anthony says, great news. It sure is. Okay, let's start with answering some questions, and I'm just going to jump through these. Now you can go ahead and post your questions, and I'm going to try to pick the ones that are going to be the most value to all of you. All right. Okay, so what is your prediction, Al says, about FSW score? Thank you. I personally think that if they do a draw in late August, which is more in line with what I think is going to happen, I suspect that it's definitely going to be over 480 points. And I don't think there's any way you can assume that it's going to be anything less than 480 CRS points. If you go back to the rounds of invitations and you look at them, and if I shift my screen over here, I'm going to type in rounds of invitations, and then I'm going to share my screen with you guys again. I'll show you. If you look at basically the cohort of applications that are being piled up here, you can see yourself that anyone, if we look in this range, 480 to 490, right now it says there's 1,429. You can pretty much guarantee that these are all going to be FSW. Then we have 425 that are between 491 to 500. So it's possible, very possible, that it could dip down just a little bit lower into the 480s, But I personally think that this first draw, maybe high 470s at best, but more than likely, I'm thinking it's going to be closer to 480 plus. And we'll see, because they're also going to open it up, which means that these other individuals that are up here in the 543s are also going to be pulled. And the 316s, which really are all PNPs, if they do just an open one, there's always going to be these people that are going to be drawn as well. So when you add it up, and if they are each round of invitation right around 3,500, I suspect that they're probably going to be north of 480. All right. So there's my idea. There's my thought based on my experience. A good question. Okay. We'll zip through here. Ishan, I'm going to give you a shout out. I hope you're staying safe. Things are freaking insane down in Texas. And one of my good friends down there said, basically, if you're concerned about the coronavirus, then you must be a liberal, which is just complete idiocy. But when people don't treat it seriously, that's why you get these massive outbreaks. And that's why Texas is struggling and suffering, and Florida the same way. All right. Caro says, great news. Absolutely it is. Super, super great news. Diana says, enjoy the warm weather. Thank you. Okay. Charlene says, do you think that the points for EE might be lower than previous draws? Well, if they do a CEC only draw, yes, I believe it's actually going to drop down lower, Charlene, than what we have here. If we have another draw on July the 9th, if it's the Thursday, traditionally it's been a PNP on the Wednesday and a CEC on the Thursday, I could easily see this dropping down into the 420s. And like I said, if you look at the number of candidates and understand these numbers were based on the pool as it was constituted on June the 22nd. And this draw happened on June the 25th. So these people that are 430 and above, so you can look here, 441 to 450, you say, wait, there's like 9,000 people still in here. Well, understand that every CEC at 431 and up, the people that are left in here are all FSWs. They're the ones that are left. Everybody else would have received an ITA basically at 431 and up. And the reason I think that is because this number here, the 3,508, usually that's a round number. So I have to assume that the last person that had 431 submitted their application on April the 3rd, 2020. So yes, I think it could go down. And if you scroll down, it's hard to tell how far it's going to dip down into this range because many of these are still FSW people, not CECs. But it'll be very curious. So if I was to guess on Thursday, and let's see, we'll see on Thursday how close I am. Based on the trend, I'm going to go with, well, I'm going to go with 426. Okay? So that's my guess for Thursday if there is a draw. 426 if it's CEC only. All right. Okay, moving on here. Let's get to some more questions answered. Okay, let's see here. Okay, John says, hey Mark, just graduated here in Toronto. I'm moving to Alberta this August. Fantastic. Do you provide consultation for the whole process until getting the PR? Thanks a lot. God bless. Absolutely. I do everything. Now, I want to tell you, John, that I have developed a new model where I work collaboratively with you. I'm not your big brother where I say, just trust me. I'll do everything. You don't have to think about anything. That's not me. That's not the practice that I do for people. I want my own clients to be educated. I want them to know what's happening. I want them to be fully engaged. I want us to work together because when I put all of my knowledge, all my experience together with you, as you bring all of your engagement, all of your information and your knowledge as I teach you the process, the finished product is awesome. And that's the difference with Holthe Immigration Law. Okay, and for those of you who are wondering, okay, Mark, you're doing these free things. Yes, I am promoting my firm. I absolutely am. This is part of the way that I build my practice. So if you, like John, want to retain me, I would love to work with you. All you have to do is go here, click the Start Here button, and it's just holthelaw.com, HOLTHELAW.com, and you can book a consult right here. And that's where the whole process starts. Okay? All right, let's jump back here. Okay, let's see what we've got coming down the pipe. I'm going to skip through a few. Okay, this is great. So this Facebook user says, how do you know, Mark? How do you know? Well, it's because I am the vice chair of the Canadian Bar Association. Every 2 weeks or so, I meet with the heads of Acadie, which are the Quebec immigration lawyers, and CAPIC, which is the head of, one that represents many of the immigration consultants. We have an IRCC immigration practitioner call every 2 weeks where we have tons of questions. We ask them about processing, where things are at. They share information on new programs with us, and they give us updates on where things are at. And this specific question was asked and answered on Tuesday. Monday. I keep forgetting what day it is. Today is Tuesday. It was just answered yesterday. And the head IRCC official that was answering our questions indicated that their intention is to start the draws for federal skilled worker applicants outside of Canada. Technically, you could still be inside of Canada and still be an FSW draw, and the federal skilled trade at the end of the summer. Those were the exact words. So that's the source. Those of you who are thinking I'm just creating fake news. I'm not. I actually have information to share, and I don't hoard it. I share it. All right. Yep, Jaspreet. Absolutely, I do charge for my consult. And you can see here, my friend, my time is precious, and I charge, even though I probably could be charging $400 for a half an hour consult, $200 plus Alberta tax of 5%, which is $210 is what I charge for my consults. And you can just, any of you that are on here that have had a consult with me, you can just post your experience, because those consults you leave knowing that one, I care about your situation and that your questions are answered. All right. Good question, Jaspreet. Okay. Yes, Karen. More standing, less sitting. That's exactly what I need to do. Thank you for reminding me. I'm going to see if I can set a sit-stand desk up. Excellent. Okay. Okay. Wow. The fall is gorgeous. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. And Bavik, I've told you already that we're thinking it's supposed to be the end of the summer. So I'm thinking the end of August. Okay. Let's see what else we have here from listeners, from watchers here. We've got Eugene over in Nairobi. Great. Val's tuning in from the Bahamas. Okay. Zinyi says, finally, Hope's back for you again. Yes, Hope's for all of you who are outside of Canada, patiently waiting. And those of you, as I flip back here, who are stuck in this crazy world of Trump in the US, reach out. Let's see if there's something we can do to help you, especially you international students who are basically being screwed by the US. I feel for you. I can't believe how devastating this would be for you. So my heart goes out for you. And I just hope that the powers that be, the people that are trying to manage the coronavirus in the US, I hope that they get things straightened around and that they make wise decisions. I am so proud of my country. I am so proud of Canada. And if you guys go back and you look, I think some of you don't even know that it happened. I created a special video series. Let's see if I can open it up. I'm going to share my screen with you guys again. So if you go to my channel, the Canadian Immigration Institute, you've got to check this out. And what you're checking out here is my top 10 reasons to immigrate to Canada. And I did this on Canada Day, and it was a lot of fun. And I went down into this wilderness park, and I had some interaction with some wild animals. So you're going to have to check that out. Okay? So go check out my top 10 reasons to immigrate to Canada. All right, back to the drawing board here. Okay, okay. Naveen says, "Come on, FSW draw. I'm turning 30 on August the 28th at 472 now. Yes, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for you, my friend, and hoping that it will drop down that low. We'll see." Okay, expired COPR holders, Kumar, understand you will be protected. If you've notified them, if you let them know that you still intended to travel. Now, what they're looking at doing, and this is something that the Canadian Bar Association, my colleagues, what we proposed is that they actually issue through regulatory amendment, because it has to come through regulatory changes, that the expiry date on the confirmation of permanent residence not necessarily have to be reissued, but that the expiry date be administratively extended to allow you to come. So hang tight. When the travel restrictions open up, when you're able to travel, what you're going to do is you're going to reach out to IRCC and let them know. Now, they're still in the works. So they're still working through this on how they're going to make it work. Those with COPRs that have expired, there's nothing that you can do right now. But I promise you, the moment I hear anything, you guys will be the first to know. So hang in there. Okay. All right. Jode says my profile is going to expire in a week. And I got an ITA. Do I have to create a new Express Entry profile again after 10 days? No, Jode. You're okay. If you've got that ITA and your profile is going to expire, that's okay. But pay attention to your other documents. Your age is locked in on the day that you've got your ITA, but the other documents have to be valid at the time you submit your EAPR. All right? Congratulations. Okay. Let's see here. We're going to zip through some other people so I can get to lots of people's questions. Okay, this is a classic one. Zabia says, my reference letter doesn't state the hours. It doesn't specifically state 40 hours per week. So will it affect my PR application? I personally go out of my way to make sure that if I can get the letter changed, I change it. Why? Because the instructions that IRCC has given us, and those of you who are tuning in for the first time, you'll see I share information and then I show you where the answer comes from. So if you go to IRCC and go to the completeness check website, I type in completeness check EE, and obviously I've searched for it so much Google understands what I'm doing. But this is where you go, and I'm going to show you right here. I'm going to go to reference right here. So this is proving work experience. You guys know, and if you don't, if you're filing your EAPR, you have to go to this site. This is the Bible for all intents and purposes. This is what the officers use to determine whether or not your documents that you've submitted are actually meeting their requirements. So you'll see here that your reference letter must indicate all positions held while employed at the company, and must. This isn't may, this isn't recommended, it's not a suggestion. It says must include the following details. And what's on that list? Right here. Number of work hours per week. So this goes back to the question that we have here. As I flip my screen back to Sabia, I go out of my way to try to get it included. If you can't, then I do whatever I can. And this is where I book this is where clients book consults with me to explore their circumstances, to see what they might have that can be used to replace the fact their letter doesn't specifically state 40 hours. And there are things that we can do. Right? An officer has to be reasonable, but at the same time, it's your obligation to give them exactly what they're asking for. Okay. Okay. Gerline, hang in there, my friend. I know you're depressed. Hang in there. It's possible 478. That's all I've got to say. Hang in there. Hang in there. Okay. Let's zip through this. Okay. Let's see here. I'm just giving, some people are asking these questions, which we talked about before, which are basically specific ones that are really asking for legal advice on their unique situation. So for example here, well, we could put up Nuria here. She says, is there any chance for an elementary teacher to get work with an LMIA? This one is general enough. It could be seen as specific, but it's general enough. The general reality for teachers is that you have to be a permanent resident of Canada in order to get an actual teaching contract in most school divisions, at least the public school divisions across Canada. So it is very unlikely that you're going to be able to get an LMIA to work as a school teacher. You often have to become a permanent resident and then transition into teaching. Some of the private schools do have the ability to issue those. But there's a lot of teachers around, especially now when schools are closed, where there is very few in-class actual students attending. Because of that, some teachers are actually even being laid off. So very, very unlikely. Okay. Okay, when are they going to start issuing Outland COPRs for applicants? They're still processing, but we just are going to have to wait and see how things unfold as to what they're going to do. Right now, like I said, they're working on a skeleton crew. Less than 5% are actually in the visa offices working. Most of them are working virtually where possible, and there's up to 30% of the officers right around there that are not even working at all because of personal circumstances. All right. Okay, here's a good question from Grajesh. He said, what's the best approach when the CRS score added with additional 1 year points before completing it and actually receiving the ITA? That's a great question. So for work history with Express Entry, you're actually getting credit for the whole month that you worked. It's on a month by basis, not daily basis. Because of that, you could work 1 day in July, for instance. You could say that you've worked up to July, and then there was a round of invitations, and today is July the 7th. It would give you credit for the whole month of July, whether you worked it or not. So that is a very, very difficult question to answer, Grajesh. For my clients, if I know that I've received an ITA and it is very unlikely I'm going to get another one, then I'll give it a shot. I'll wait until I have accumulated the full year before I submit my EAPR, and then I will acknowledge that in a letter of explanation and point out that it was the system that extended the ITA and that there was no misrepresentation, but now my client actually meets the minimal entry criteria and that they should be allowed to proceed forward. I do that. If I know I have a client that say has over 500 points and I know they're going to get another ITA on the next draw, then I will decline that invitation to apply, have my client go back into the pool, and then await the next ITA after my client has actually obtained those that full year. So that's how I deal with it. Okay, Facebook says, please send me the website for me, sir. Okay, once again, guys, if you go here, all you have to go is to holthylaw.com. I can't even blow it up any larger than this. Someone can post the link. I don't have the ability to do that. Maybe Igor can do it, or one of you, but it's just holthylaw.com, HOLTHE.com. And then you just have to click on the Start Here button, and that will take you to where you can book the consult. I also want to tell you guys, which I do all the time. Actually, I'm jumping around here too fast. There. You have to realize that everything I'm teaching you about Express Entry, this is all about anything. I'll answer anything about immigration on this. It's open season. But right here, the Canadian Immigration Institute has its own page. In here, you will find the course. And the course, which is the pillar of everything that I'm doing right now, is my Express Entry complete step-by-step course to doing it yourself. And many, many, many people have used this to obtain permanent residence. If you go to learn more, you can watch the testimonials from many of the past clients that have used it. And like I said, Mashi, I'm not sure if you're watching right now, but Mashi right now is the only one that's now waiting of this group that I've got here, who's waiting for the travel restrictions to lift for him to be able to travel. So he's the last one. But the rest of you, $497 is what grants you the access. You can also get it for a monthly access for $97. There is a 100% 30-day money-back guarantee. And I honor that completely. If someone comes and says, hey, I want my money back, which I'm having another, okay, anyways. I'll be honest, very, very, very frequently, well, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to be kind. I'm going to be kind because I don't want to be seen as disparaging anyone unfairly. But there are certain individuals that have a tendency to just go in to look to see how the course is, to take information out, and then to go and, well, whatever, help other people, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to leave it at that. But anyone who goes in and feels like this does not actually help them, I give them their money back. There's a complete 30-day money-back guarantee. And for those of you who are watching this live right now, all you have to do is click on the purchase guide right here and type in the code EEDIY50. And I wonder if I can enlarge this. Yeah, I can. Okay, so you guys can see this. All you have to do is type in EEDIY50. I only do it in the middle of these videos for people who are actually watching this because I want to reward you for taking the time to join me and to make this so awesome. And when you click apply, then guess what it does? It drops 50% off. Now these are in US dollars, and so it's $248.50 for lifetime access. There isn't a 50% off for the monthly access, but there is for the lifetime access for this latest version. All right, there we go, guys. Okay, moving back. Let's start answering some more questions. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, Balwinder, I've already answered this one. CRS, if it's CEC only, I think it's going to drop. Okay. Okay, hello. Don't know if it is relevant to the topic you're talking on. Hey, Samira, I'm talking about everything right now. It's open season. She says, and actually I should probably just shift over here. I'm going to shift over here, and then it'll make it easier for you guys to be able to see. Okay. Okay, so the question is, okay, when they will start guiding expired COPR holders. Okay, yes, I already answered that one, which is basically wait and see. They're looking at some possibilities, including administratively extending the expiry date on those COPRs so that people can travel on expired COPRs. So that is what they're looking at. Hang in there, my friend. Okay, so Gerber says, hey, a U.S. citizen looking to move up north, low CRS score, but working on my master's degree, 1 year left. When should I book a consult? In all honesty, Gerber, it's best to book a consult now, because it may be that even though you work on your master's, you may still not have a high enough score to be able to immigrate to Canada. It's entirely possible. There's a bunch of different factors. And so those factors really come into specific legal advice, and it's better to book the consult now, because there's no point planning a year down the road to come up to Canada when when maybe you didn't have a hope in the beginning. But as a U.S. citizen, what I'm going to talk to you about is NAFTA, or now the U.S. Mexico-Canada Agreement. As of July 1st, I think it changed names. U.S. citizens have different options, including an easier process for getting work permits. So there are pathways for you, but I need to know a whole lot more, and I recommend you book it now. Then you'll know where you stand, and then you can start to govern your affairs and plan going forward. Okay, good question. All right. Okay, so we've answered that one. Okay, Claire says, for a 2-year post-grad program condensed into a 16-month time frame and time limit is 3 years, may I know the duration of a post-grad work permit? If it is a 2-year work permit, your credential, the program is offered, it's a 2-year program. Even if it's condensed, maybe you took classes in the summer, you are still eligible for a 3-year post-grad work permit. Simple as that. Okay. Okay, Diana says, hey, I'm filing my EAPR. I didn't submit the IELTS in the ECA reports. Do you think I should fill up an electronic form with an LOE and submit it? Or is it not necessary since I put the report numbers? It's not specifically required. You don't have to submit your IELTS nor your WEST reports. Those are automatically translated to immigration. But with my clients, I usually upload them both with my education documents. I include them anyways, just because I want immigration to know that these are valid, and if somehow the internal system is screwed up with WES or one of the other educational credential assessment agencies, I want them to know that I have completed it and not get it bounced because they can't find a link to, the information that I put into my file. Okay. Okay. This Facebook user has asked a very, very good question. He says, Mark, is there any way you can lobby with your colleagues to move pending paper applications to an online process system for faster processing? They're actually doing that now. And are we lobbying? Oh yeah, we are lobbying intensely for this. It just makes sense in this modern world that they not have paper-based applications. This whole coronavirus and this pandemic has very, very clearly brought to light the challenges of continuing with paper-based. In fact, the government of Canada has sent out a request for proposals for companies to recreate and rebuild a new online system. If I could have you guys raise your hand, and maybe you can give me a thumbs up or a like, how many of you have had a miserable experience using your MyCIC portal? Raise your hand. I'm raising mine because it's been an absolute nightmare. There has been so many issues. It's constantly timing out. It's not allowing people to log in, and it has been an unbelievable painful process. So not surprising that they're now trying to find groups that can produce hopefully a better system than they have right now. And yes, you bet we're lobbying for that. Okay, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit here to get to some other people. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Okay, so if I didn't get to your question, understand, I'm not going to just do it sequentially all the way through. I'm going to try to pick and choose the ones that are going to work the best for everybody and to give everybody a fair chance. Some people have tuned in a little bit later, and I want them to have a chance, an equal chance to get their question answered as well. So I won't get to everyone. It's just impossible when you have over 200 people that are watching live to get to everyone's question. But hopefully the ones I'm answering are going to be the most beneficial for the most people that are attending live and the thousands of people who watch these as a recording after. Okay. Okay, Katerina, let's see what she says. Katerina says, hey, from Ontario, thanks for the fabulous news. Any news on biometrics reopening? Stuck on a visitor visa waiting for a spousal open work permit with no income. Katerina, I am so sorry. Yes, at this stage, no word. They're working on it. They're exploring possibilities. But right now we have not received, they had no updates for us in our call yesterday on when the in Canada biometrics would be open. So hang in there. Okay. Diana, I agree. Like they definitely should separate them out like they have and to do separate FSWs. And I know what you're saying. You're hoping that the FSWs will then drop down lower. But the reality is they're rewarding people that are in Canada right now. That's why the CEC draws are being carved out, because they've got so many people that may not be able to work right now, that it's better for them to be able to transition to permanent residence and to have a pathway forward than to have all of these people who decide, you know what, I don't have a chance here in Canada, but I'm just going to stay illegally. And that's the mess that you have in the US. All these people that have come in through all these different paths, and then the immigration rules are so strict and they punish people so harshly that then, it's amazing to me how American companies are so willing to pay people cash and make it so easy to work illegally, when in the end it just harms people. I had a consult with one person in Texas who has actually been working for the company. They went through the study permit, the OPT, and then once the OPT was finalized, there was a transition with the company, and they didn't realize that she was no longer in status. So she has a valid social security number, and she's been working for over, I think, 10 years in the US. And the reality is her pathways to Canada could have been possible, but because of her unique situation, she can't. And now she's had this lengthy period of time in the US. She's probably going to be on the radar of immigration now, US immigration. And now she's going to have all this time that's basically going to be wasted. And so, yeah, it's really, really tough that they're doing this, but they're trying to accommodate people that are in Canada, and those that are outside. Yeah, it's painful. I feel you guys. Like, I feel for you. I know you're probably sitting in the mid 460s, right, Diana? And you're hoping that it's going to drop down enough. And maybe it will. But right now, we've got so many international students that came piling in that now we're trying to transition those students into permanent residence. And that seems to be, well, I shouldn't say students. They have to get a job, work in a skilled occupation, and then qualify, generally speaking. So, all right. Okay. This one here, Nads, I'm just going to identify it. I'm going to ring the bell here because this is a super long one. And this is basically asking questions that are really legal advice. How can you qualify? And so that's something that I encourage you to book a consult with. Okay. Okay. So Gotham, we don't know for sure if there's going to be a draw. Tradition says that it's probably a PNP and then on Thursday a CEC, but we just don't know. Okay, and same thing for Vic's asking, hey, Express Entry, is an LMIA job offer required or not? Vic, each program within the BC PNP has different rules, different restrictions. And so that is something that would definitely need to dive into on a paid consult, or specifically bringing in maybe even one of my BC colleagues to talk about the various BC programs. And I think I'm overdue for a Canadian immigration podcast as well. Okay, this is an interesting one. What's the chance of 445 with 2173? This is a perfect example of where this really applies. And this is very good and very illustrative. When people ask questions like this, there are so many pieces of information that are missing that really result in, and I should probably share this one as well as I go through all of my information. I'm going to run this across the bottom. The reality is when individuals ask questions and I don't have all of the facts, I run into a situation where I'm in danger of giving advice that then this Facebook user would rely upon to their detriment. So maybe it's the wrong advice because I don't have all the facts. And that is why a legal consultation is so important. That's why I freely give information, but when people dive into their own specific situation that doesn't apply generally to everyone else, that's where I have to kind of draw the line. And that's where I direct you back to book a paid consult with Oath of the Immigration Law. Okay, hopefully you understand that. And I'll just continue moving on here a little bit. Okay. Cool background. What app are you using for this feed? I am using Ecamm, which is an awesome program, Sobam. And this background here, I don't know, I think I found it on one of the free, digital image sites. I can't remember what it's called. Let me just see what it's called. You guys ask questions about anything. I'm happy to share what I know. I can find it here. Yes, Unsplash. This, if you're looking for great places to get good images and everything, go right here, guys. Unsplash is awesome, and you can find tons of good stuff, and it's freely usable images. So that's what makes it so amazing. So if you haven't checked this one out for images on your social media stuff, go here. Hey, I'm answering everything here. All right, let's go back here to more comments. We're just about wrapped up here for time. Let's zip down through a bunch of other ones and let's see if we can find one here. Okay, Steffi says, hey, I see lots of people with expired COPRs proactively raising their ready to travel web form just so to get a response from IRCC for the next steps and not to lose on time. Is it advisable to do so? If you're ready to travel, then do it. There's no harm in letting them know that you're ready. So I agree, Steffi, that makes a lot of sense. Jaspreet, my friend, I have so many questions that are coming through. I'm not ignoring it just so that you pay me. I'm not at all, my friend. It's just I have to zip through. And if it's a specific question, that might have been one of the reasons why I passed it over. Okay. So this Facebook user says, hey, you're doing a wonderful job by helping guide people. I want to know that could I process verification of education documents prior to IELTS? Absolutely, you can obtain your WES. You can totally do that, or any other ICAS or IQuests or whatever, ICES, all of the different educational credential assessment agencies. By all means, you can do it. But here's the thing, and this is what you will find right here. If I shift back, and we're just about wrapped up here. If I shift back here to this site, no, not this one. This one, not that one. My goodness, I've got way too many windows open. Is it this one? I guess it's this one. Yes. That's why my Canadian Immigration Institute. It's a great question. One of the things that, and I keep forgetting I'm going to make this free. I'm so sorry, guys. I've had so much going on here trying to stay on top of everything. But when you log in here to your own account when you pay for it, and I'm actually going to make this part free. The beginning of this, and I'm going to shrink this down so that you guys can see it a little bit better. In Module 1, Learning the Basics, one of the first things that I teach you as part of this whole process, and actually, let me just see if I can find it. Actually, it's in the member resource section. That's where it is. I have here my top 5 things to do before submitting your Express Entry profile. And this one is really, really good because it talks about the things that if you follow the order I tell you, you will be able to determine right away if you're even going to have a chance of immigrating to start with. And the last thing I want is for people to go out and, if we flip back here to the main screen here, for this Facebook user to go ahead and pay hundreds of dollars to get their education credentials assessed when they don't have a chance of immigrating in the first place. It's a waste of money. So in this, I actually show you how to save probably $500 Canadian with all of the things that you have to do. just by asking yourself these simple questions. The 5 things that I tell you to do before you even submit your Express Entry profile. So that's totally available, and that's right at the beginning. That, you spend $250 US and I save you $500 without even getting into the whole Express Entry process. Okay, once again, piling through here. There are so many questions. Okay, I'll finish off with Paulo here. Paulo says, hey, I'm on an Express Entry, but I'm on Express Entry, but I decided to apply for a student visa. Should I delete my profile? I'm glad to have you helping us. Thank you. Paulo, it doesn't matter. Once you've submitted your profile, you're in the system. It's locked in. When you click submit, it becomes a part of your permanent immigration record. And one of the things I'm probably going to do on Thursday is I'm going to show you guys, and I'm not sure if I can do this. Image share, is this the one? Let's see. I finalized an EAPR for a client today, and one of the things I realized is that, bear with me a second as I work through all of this. One thing I realized is that no one ever talks about the disclaimers that immigration. Let's see here. I don't think I can find it. I've got too many things on my desktop right now. But next week, there is a disclaimer that you guys sign off on when you submit your profile. And the reality is, one of that is that you acknowledge that it's going to be a part of your formal record. And there's also some really important information that would, if explained to people, would help them to understand what is happening from a legal standpoint when they share their information with the government of Canada. For one, what countries they can share that information with. So stay tuned for the next live Q&A on Thursday, this Thursday at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, right here on the Canadian Immigration Institute. And I'm going to share that at the beginning, what those declarations mean. And it's important for you to understand, because some people just don't, and it can come back to haunt you after if you don't understand what you're doing. And I know for a fact many representatives don't. And they never take the time. Lawyers, I would hope, would go through and explain those legal obligations. But most of the consultants I know don't even understand them themselves, and they don't even take the time to explain them to their clients. But whatever, once again, I'm sure I'm going to be slammed by the Consultant Association for once again disparaging consultants, but that's okay. My purpose here isn't to enrich the value of using a consultant. My purpose here is to let everybody know that you have a right to hire an immigration lawyer to help you, and that there is a difference. And so, this is Mark Holthe, Canadian immigration lawyer, probably talking too much about too many other things out there, making enemies, but hopefully you guys understand how much I care and how much this whole process of immigration means to me. It is so much more than just money. This is my life as a former immigration officer, spending over $100,000 or more for my own law degree and working my tail off to really get to where I'm at, where in September I'll be the chair over the National Canadian Bar Association. And I want to identify something here. And I'm actually going to stop this this banner floating below here. We don't need that anymore. Understand that any of these comments that I've made today are my own personal comments and in no way reflective of the Canadian Bar Association or any other association I may be a part of. These are my own personal comments. And I want to thank all of you guys for being here. Thank you for making this what it is today. We had a really, really good group of people that joined, and this is why I do it. And I'm excited once again, if you're just tuning in late, to let everybody know that IRCC has informed us that they are going to start rounds of invitations for the Federal Skilled Worker Program and the Federal Skilled Trade Program later this summer. They didn't give us an exact date, but at least you guys can know. What is the summer? The summer is usually August. Is it possible it could push into September? I guess it's possible, but I'm betting on the end of August. All right, guys, there's the news. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks once again. Remember, this is always, as always, sponsored by the Canadian Immigration Institute. And as I've indicated repeatedly, as I'm going through these videos and doing everything myself here as I bounce back and forth. I do want to give a huge shout out to Igor, who is my paralegal, who does a lot of work with me helping to promote. He keeps our social media sites up. If we go to Twitter and you go to Holthe Immigration, that Twitter site, Igor does a great job of releasing everything. You can see even this live one is already here. But he does a great job of posting the very latest information about Canadian immigration. You can access my top 10 reasons to move to Canada here. You can go to the YouTube channel where many of you guys are watching it now. Many of you are on Facebook. Remember, if you go to the YouTube channel, you can see everything. It's all here. And wow, we're pretty close to 20,000 subscribers, which is pretty cool. How much do I pay to add subscribers to all of my channels? 0. I don't do any. So like this, share it. Click on the bell for notifications when I go live, and then you won't miss out on anything. I think I'm going to end here with a beautiful view of Castle Falls. At least I think this is Castle Falls. I'm pretty sure we visited a lot of places on the weekend. And there are some QR codes where you can just highlight right over top. In fact, I'm going to shift here to the last screen as I sign off. And I want to wish you guys all safety and health and just wellness with your families. This pandemic is still real. It's still here. It's still affecting people. People are still dying. And I want to thank all of you for taking the time to join me. Come back on Thursday and we're going to have some more awesome information. If for whatever reason you weren't able to get your question answered, remember, you can always book a consult. Just go to holthelaw.com and you can just type it in Google, immigration lawyer Mark Holthe. You can find it. All right. Thanks so much, guys. And I will sign off with beautiful Castle Falls. Take care, everyone.